Dave, do these victims have a case against the DOJ for not protecting their identities? Is this invasion of privacy?
Alex, there's a level of sovereign immunity that government officials get when they screw up. And I think, by all accounts, this is a mess up. This is what happens when your focus is on protecting the boss. And in so doing, you miss the names, social security numbers, identifying information, pictures of victims. So you can get a tongue lashing from a judge. But ultimately, I don't think anyone is going to be incarcerated for this or pay out any money. They're going to have to, though, fix the problem. And they're in the process of doing so. But it is embarrassing for this administration when the names of victims who are supposed to be the ones protected are out there. And you have like a name of a dog, for example, that's been redacted. It does seem to be very disorganized.
What do you make of that? What kind of message does that send, that you've got the victims exposed and people who are potential perpetrators or just unsavory types? Yeah, they get, I guess they're given cover.
You know, this whole thing has been a mess because at first we thought there was an Epstein list, but there is not. But there are names in the Epstein files of alleged co-conspirators. And of those names, they've all been redacted except for Ghislaine Maxwell. We know why. She's already been convicted. Jean-Luc Brunel, he died in a prison in France. But also the head of the Limited, Leslie Wexner, where you wonder, why was his name unredacted? And then you see some pages that are all blacked out, while others you have pinpoint redactions here and there. So I don't think this is a coordinated effort to hurt survivors. I think the only coordination is to protect Donald Trump. And at the same time, the releases have been haphazard, disorganized. And so we're left with a situation where actually victims are identified while alleged co-conspirators are not.
I read about how the name of that person's dog redacted. Really? So the Justice Department says members of Congress will be able to review unredacted versions of the released Epstein files. That can happen next week. What should they be looking for, Dave? But by the way, Congress is not going to get access to the remaining 3 million documents or so that DOJ still has and is not releasing. So why not? Weren't those documents described by Assistant AG Todd Blanche as being potential overreach from their investigation? And if that's the case, why can't Congress members decide for themselves if anything in them may be relevant?
Well, this is a battle between the executive branch and the legislative branch, and it's good to see the legislative branch finally stepping up. I think it's going to be hard to get those 3 million documents unless you go to court. But the ones that are being shown are the redactions. And I think the members of Congress are going to need to look for the names of the alleged co-conspirators. You remember, the survivors know who they are. So it's up to the members of Congress, if they would like to read out the names on the floor. Remember, Massey, I think, said he was going to do so because they have certain privileges being on the floor of the House, the speech and debate clause, where they don't get sued if they read out the names. Whereas if the survivors mention the names of those who did this to them, they could get sued. And that's why it's important for the members of Congress to do what the survivors cannot. But as far as the 3 million documents that are being withheld, you're going to have to go to court, get a special master appointed. It all takes time to do that.
You remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene said she would read the names of those being accused or co-conspirators. She would have done that on the House floor. Anyway.
But why haven't they done it, Alex? I don't understand why they haven't, because they can under the rules, but none of the members of Congress have done that yet.
Good point. We're going to ask some people that question. Thanks, my friend. Appreciate that.